Jack Morrison wiped the sweat from his forehead as he worked inside the communication array panel. The metal was cold against his hands, but the small space made him feel hot and cramped. He had been fixing communication equipment for 8 years now, and this job on the UES horizon was supposed to be routine. Just another broken relay that needed new parts. The huge colony ship moved through space at incredible speed, carrying 20,000 people to their new home on a planet called New Terra. Jack liked his job because it was quiet and peaceful. He could work alone and think about things. Today, however, something was different. As he connected the new relay unit, strange signals began flowing through the system. These were not the normal messages between ships or the usual reports to Earth. These signals were encrypted, hidden deep inside the regular communication channels. Jack had never seen anything like them before. His fingers moved quickly over the control panel, trying to understand what he was seeing. The signals seemed to be coming from the Galactic Federation headquarters, but they were being sent through secret channels that most people would never find. Jack felt his heart beat faster. Why would the Federation need to hide their messages? He copied the encrypted data onto a small storage device and put it in his pocket. The smart thing to do would be to report this to his supervisor, Commander Helen Brooks, but something told him to wait. Something told him to look at these messages first. After finishing his repair work, Jack went to his small quarters on Deck 7. The room was tiny, just big enough for a bed, a desk, and a small storage area. He locked the door and turned on his personal computer. His hands shook slightly as he inserted the storage device. The encryption was complex, but Jack had learned about code breaking during his training. It took him 3 hours to break through the first layer of security. When he finally saw the clear text, he could not believe what he was reading. The message was from Federation Admiral Corven to Earth's Colonial Administration. It talked about something called Operation Silent Storm and mentioned 3 human colonies: Kepler Station, New Athens, and Haven Ridge. Jack knew these names. These were the colonies that had been destroyed by pirates 6 months ago. The news reports had said that 50,000 people had died in the attacks, but this message told a different story. The Federation had made a deal with the Zaraki Empire. The Zaraki wanted those 3 star systems for themselves, and the Federation had agreed to let them take the colonies. The human colonists were never warned. They were never evacuated. They were left to die. Jack read the message again, hoping he had made a mistake. But the words were clear. The Federation had traded human lives for peace with the Zaraki. The pirate attacks were fake. The real attackers were Zaraki military forces, and the Federation had ordered human ships to stay away until it was too late to save anyone. His stomach felt sick. 50,000 people had died because the Federation thought human lives were worth less than alien friendship. Men, women, and children had been murdered, and the galaxy had been told it was just bad luck. Jack spent the next 2 days breaking more codes and reading more messages. Each new document made the situation worse. The Federation had been planning this for months. They had chosen those 3 colonies because they were far from Earth and had small populations. They thought no one would ask too many questions. The messages also showed that Federation ships had been in the area when the attacks happened. Captain Roy Palmer of the Federation cruiser Swift Justice had sent a message asking for permission to help the colonists. The answer had been clear: stay away and let the Zaraki finish their work. Jack printed out the most important documents and hid them in different places around his room. He needed to tell someone about this, but he was not sure who to trust. The messages showed that some humans were working with the Federation to keep the secret. People in Earth's government knew what had happened and were helping to cover it up. He decided to talk to Lisa Carter, another communications officer who worked on the same shift. Lisa was smart and honest, and Jack had known her for 2 years. If anyone could help him figure out what to do, it would be Lisa. The next morning, Jack found Lisa in the communication center during her break. She was drinking coffee and reading a book about Earth's history. Jack sat down next to her and looked around to make sure no one was listening. "Lisa," he said quietly, "I need to show you something important, something that could change everything." "Lisa." looked at him with concern. "You look terrible, Jack. Have you been sleeping?" "Not much," Jack admitted. "Lisa, what I'm about to show you is dangerous. If the wrong people find out we know about this, we could both end up dead." Lisa put down her book and looked at him seriously. "What are you talking about?" Jack pulled out one of the printed messages and handed it to her. "Read this. It's about the colony attack 6 months ago." Lisa read the document slowly. Jack watched her face change as she understood what she was seeing. Her eyes grew wide and her hands began to shake. "This can't be real," she whispered. "The Federation would never do something like this." "I have dozens of these messages," Jack said. "They're all real. I've checked them 3 times. The Federation let the Zaraki Empire murder 50,000 humans, and then they lied about it." Lisa was quiet for a long time. She read the message again, then looked at Jack with fear in her eyes. "What are we going to do?" "I don't know," Jack said. "But we have to do something. Those people died because the Federation thought human lives didn't matter. How many more colonies will they sacrifice? How many more people will die?" Lisa folded the message and gave it back to Jack. "We need to tell Commander Brooks." "She's honest? She'll know what to do." Jack was not sure about that. The messages had shown that the conspiracy went very high up in both the Federation and Earth's government. How could they know who to trust? "Maybe," he said. "But first, I want to make copies of everything. If something happens to us, someone else needs to know the truth." They worked together for the next few hours, copying all the encrypted messages onto multiple storage devices. Lisa helped Jack hide the copies in different parts of the ship. They put one in the medical bay, one in the engineering section, and one in the cargo hold. As they worked, Jack told Lisa about all the evidence he had found. The financial records showed that Earth's colonial administration had received payments from the Federation for territorial adjustments. The military reports showed that human ships had been ordered to avoid the areas where the colonies were under attack. The worst part was the survivor reports. A few people had escaped from each colony before the attacks, but their testimonies had been classified as secret. These survivors had seen Federation ships near the colonies just before the attacks began. They had tried to call for help, but their messages had been blocked. "We have to tell people," Lisa said. "The families of those who died deserve to know the truth." Jack nodded. "But how?" "If we try to send messages to Earth, the Federation will intercept them. They control all the communication channels." "What about the other ships in our fleet?" Lisa asked. "Some of the captains might listen to us." Double quotes. Jack thought about this. There were 12 ships in their convoy, all heading to New Terra. Some of the captains were good people who would be angry about what the Federation had done. But others might be part of the conspiracy. "We'll have to be careful," Jack said. "If we choose the wrong person to trust, we'll disappear and no one will ever know what happened to us." As if to prove his point, the ship's communication system suddenly announced that all crew members were to report to their stations for a special inspection. Jack and Lisa looked at each other with worry. Had someone discovered what they were doing? Jack quickly gathered up the documents and storage devices. "We need to act fast," he said. "If they're looking for us, we might not get another chance." Lisa nodded. "Let's go find Commander Brooks. If we're going to trust someone, it might as well be her." They left the communication center and walked toward the command section, not knowing that their lives were about to change forever. The truth was a dangerous thing in a galaxy where human lives were considered expendable, but Jack Morrison was determined to make sure the truth would not stay hidden much longer. Jack Morrison and Lisa Carter walked quickly through the corridors of the UES Horizon toward the command section. The ship felt different now that Jack knew the truth about the Federation. Every person they passed might be part of the conspiracy. Every security camera might be watching them. They found Commander Helen Brooks in her office, looking at reports on her computer screen. She was a woman in her 50s with gray hair and kind eyes. Jack had always respected her because she treated everyone fairly and never lied to her crew. "Commander Brooks," Jack said as he knocked on her open door. "We need to talk to you about something very important." Brooks looked up from her work. "Come in and close the door," she said. "You both look worried. What's wrong?" Jack sat down across from her desk while Lisa stood near the door. He pulled out some of the printed messages and placed them in front of the commander. His hands were shaking as he spoke. "Commander, I found these messages hidden in our communication system. They're from the Federation, and they prove that the colony attacks 6 months ago were not done by pirates." Brooks picked up the first message and began reading. Jack watched her face carefully. He needed to know if she was part of the conspiracy or if she could be trusted. After a few minutes, Brooks looked up with shock in her eyes. "Where did you get these?" she asked quietly. "I found them while fixing a communication relay," Jack said. "There are dozens more. The Federation made a deal with the Zaraki Empire to let them destroy our colonies. 50,000 people died because the Federation thought it was worth it to keep the Zaraki happy." Brooks read through more of the messages. With each document, she became more angry. Finally, she put the papers down and looked at Jack with serious eyes. "This is treason," she said. "Not just by the Federation, but by people in our own government." "How many people know about this?" "Just the 3 of us," Lisa said from near the door. "We made copies and hid them around the ship, but we haven't told anyone else." Brooks stood up and walked to her window, looking out at the stars. "If this gets out, it will start a war. Humans all over the galaxy will want revenge against the Federation." "Maybe that's what needs to happen," Jack said. "How many more colonies will they sacrifice? How many more people will die while we stay quiet?" Before Brooks could answer, there was a knock at her door. "Come in," she called out. A man in a Federation uniform entered the room. He was tall and thin with cold blue eyes. Jack had seen him around the ship, but had never talked to him before. "Commander Brooks," the man said. "I'm Agent Kyle Stevens from Federation Intelligence. I need to speak with Communications Officer Morrison." Jack felt his blood turn cold. How did the Federation know what he had found? He looked at Commander Brooks, hoping she would protect him. "What do you want with my officer?" Brooks asked. Stevens smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Mr. Morrison has been accessing classified Federation communications. This is a serious crime that could result in his execution." "I was just fixing equipment," Jack said, trying to keep his voice calm. "I didn't know the messages were classified." Stevens laughed. "Don't lie to me, Morrison. We know you've been copying encrypted files and breaking security codes. We also know you've been sharing classified information with other crew members." He looked at Lisa, who stepped back toward the wall. "Miss Carter, you're also in serious trouble. Helping someone access classified information is just as bad as doing it yourself." Commander Brooks moved to stand between Stevens and her officers. "These people work for me," she said. "If you have charges against them, you'll need to go through proper channels." Stevens pulled out a small device that looked like a communication pad. "I have full authority from Federation Command to deal with security breaches. Morrison and Carter are under arrest for treason against the Galactic Federation." Jack stood up quickly. "Commander, don't let them take us." "You've read the messages. You know what the Federation did to those colonies?" Stevens pressed a button on his device. "Security team to Commander Brooks' office, priority 1. Within seconds, 4 Federation security officers entered the room. They wore black uniforms and carried energy weapons. Jack realized that the Federation had been watching him for longer than he thought. "Take Morrison and Carter to Detention Bay 3, Stevens ordered. "They're to be held for transfer to Sigma 7 Station." Jack had heard of Sigma 7. It was a Federation prison, where people went and never came back. He looked at Commander Brooks, hoping she would do something to help them. "Agent Stevens," Brooks said, "these officers are under my command. I demand to see the charges against them." Stevens handed her a data pad. "It's all there." "Their charge with espionage, treason, and violation of Federation security protocols. The penalty for all 3 crimes is death." As the security officers moved toward Jack and Lisa, Brooks stepped forward. "Wait," she said. "I want to review these charges before anyone is arrested." "You don't have that authority?" Stevens replied. "This is a Federation matter, not a ship matter." Jack knew he had to act fast. If they took him to detention, he would never get another chance to expose the truth. He pulled out his communicator and tried to send a message to other ships in the fleet. Stevens saw what he was doing and grabbed the device from his hand. "You're making this worse for yourself, Morrison. Every crime you commit just makes your punishment more severe." "What punishment?" Jack asked. "Death? You're already planning to kill me anyway." Stevens smiled again. "That's true. But we can make your death quick and painless, or we can make it slow and terrible. The choice is yours." Lisa moved closer to Jack. "Don't give them anything," she whispered. "They're going to kill us no matter what we do." One of the security officers grabbed Lisa's arm. "That's enough talking," he said. "Time to go." As they started to drag Lisa toward the door, Commander Brooks made her decision. "Stop," she said in a loud voice. "I'm ordering you to release my officers." Stevens turned to face her. "You don't have the authority to give me orders, Commander. I represent the Federation government." "This is my ship," Brooks replied. "And these are my people. If you want to arrest them, you'll have to go through me first." Stevens nodded to his security team. "Detain Commander Brooks as well. She's obviously part of the conspiracy." As the security officers moved toward Brooks, the ship's alarm system suddenly began blaring. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside, and an automated voice announced that there was an emergency in the engineering section. In the confusion, Jack saw his chance. He grabbed the printed messages from Brooks' desk and ran toward the door. Lisa was right behind him, having broken free from the security officer who was holding her. "Stop them!" Stevens shouted, but his men were more concerned about Commander Brooks, who was fighting back against the officers trying to arrest her. Jack and Lisa ran down the corridor as fast as they could. Behind them, they could hear Stevens screaming orders at his security team. The emergency alarm was still ringing, which meant people were running around trying to figure out what was wrong. They reached the elevator and pressed the button for Deck 5. As the doors closed, Jack saw Stevens and his men running toward them. The agent raised his weapon, but the doors shut just in time. "What do we do now?" Lisa asked as they rode down to Deck 5. "We have to find the other copies of the evidence," Jack said. "If Stevens gets all of them, no one will ever know what the Federation did." The elevator opened and they stepped out into the corridor. Jack knew they only had a few minutes before Stevens' security team would track them down. They had to move fast. They ran toward the medical bay, where they had hidden one of the storage devices. Dr. Amy Rodriguez was there, treating a patient who had been injured in the engineering emergency. "Dr. Rodriguez," Jack said, "we need your help. The Federation is trying to arrest us for learning the truth about the colony attacks." Dr. Rodriguez looked confused. "What are you talking about?" "The Federation let the Zaraki Empire destroy 3 human colonies," Lisa explained quickly. "Jack found proof, and now they want to kill us to keep it secret." Before Dr. Rodriguez could respond, Stevens' voice came over the ship's communication system. "Attention all crew members. Communications officers Morrison and Carter are dangerous criminals who have stolen classified Federation documents. Anyone who helps them will be arrested for treason." Dr. Rodriguez looked at Jack and Lisa with fear in her eyes. "I can't help you," she said. "I have a family. I can't risk getting involved in this." Jack understood her fear, but he was disappointed. "Please," he said, "just let us get what we hid here. Then we'll leave you alone." Dr. Rodriguez hesitated, then nodded. "Make it quick," she said. Jack found the storage device they had hidden behind the medical supplies. As he grabbed it, the door to the medical bay opened and Stevens walked in with 2 security officers. "End of the line, Morrison," Stevens said. "Hand over the storage device and come with us quietly." Jack looked at Lisa, then at Dr. Rodriguez. The doctor looked away, too scared to help them. Jack realized they were trapped with nowhere to run, but then the ship's lights went out. The medical bay was completely dark. Jack Morrison could hear Agent Stevens cursing as he and his security officers fumbled around trying to find their way. Emergency lighting should have come on automatically, but it had not. Someone was helping them. "Lisa," Jack whispered, "stay close to me." He felt her hand grab his arm. Together they moved carefully toward where they remembered the door being. Jack's heart was beating so fast he was sure Stevens could hear it. Behind them, one of the security officers crashed into something and made a loud noise. "Get those lights back on!" Stevens shouted, "Now!" Jack and Lisa reached the door and slipped out into the corridor. The hallway was also dark, but they could see a small light moving toward them. As it got closer, Jack saw it was Chief Engineer Pete Logan carrying a flashlight. "This way," Logan whispered. "Hurry." They followed Logan down the corridor and into a maintenance shaft. It was a tight space, and they had to crawl on their hands and knees. Behind them, Jack could hear Stevens' men searching the medical bay. "Why? Are you helping us?" Jack asked Logan as they crawled through the shaft. "Because I read the messages you left in the engineering section," Logan replied. "My brother lived on Haven Ridge Colony. He died in the attack, along with his wife and 2 children. If the Federation is responsible for their deaths, then I want them to pay." They crawled for what felt like hours, but was probably only 10 minutes. Finally, Logan stopped and opened a panel that led into the cargo bay. The huge room was filled with supplies and equipment for the new colony on New Terra. "We have about 5 minutes before Stevens figures out where we went," Logan said. "There's a transport pod hidden behind those supply crates. Lisa Carter helped me prepare it yesterday." Jack looked at Lisa with surprise. "You knew we might need to escape?" "I hoped we wouldn't," she said, "but I wanted to be ready. Pete and I've been planning this since we first talked." Logan led them to a small transport pod that looked like it could carry about 6 people. It was designed for short trips between ships, not for long journeys through space. Jack wondered how far they could get before the Federation caught them. "Where can we go?" Jack asked. "Stevens will have every Federation ship looking for us. There's an asteroid mining station called Ceres Station about 2 hours from here," Logan said. "The commander there is Captain Ron Hayes. He's a good man who doesn't like the Federation much." As Logan spoke, the cargo bay lights suddenly came on. Jack spun around and saw Stevens standing at the entrance with 4 security officers. The agent had a big smile on his face. "Very clever," Stevens said, "but not clever enough. We've been tracking your movement through the ship's internal sensors." Jack realized they were trapped. The transport pod was behind them, but Stevens' men were blocking the only exit. There was nowhere to run. "Give me the storage device, Morrison," Stevens said, "and I might let your friends live." Jack looked at Lisa and Logan. These people had risked everything to help him, and now they were going to die because of it. But if he gave Stevens the evidence, the Federation would continue killing innocent people. "I don't think so," Jack said. "If you want it, you'll have to take it." Stevens nodded to his men. "Kill them all?" The security officers raised their weapons, but before they could fire, the cargo bay was filled with smoke. Someone had set off the emergency fire suppression system. Jack could not see anything, but he heard Logan shouting, "Get to the pod now." Jack grabbed Lisa's hand and ran toward where he thought the transport pod was. He crashed into several supply crates but kept moving. Behind him, he could hear Stevens' men coughing and trying to find them in the smoke. Strong hands grabbed Jack and pushed him toward an open door. "In here," a voice said. Jack did not recognize the voice, but he did not have time to think about it. He and Lisa climbed into the transport pod. Logan was already inside, starting the engines. As Jack looked back, he saw a man in a ship's uniform, fighting with one of Stevens' security officers. The man was using a metal pipe to defend himself. "Who is that?" Jack asked. "Tony Martinez from the maintenance crew," Logan replied. "He volunteered to help us escape." The transport pod's engines started humming. Logan was working fast to get them ready for launch. Through the smoke, Jack could see Stevens trying to reach them. The agent was shouting orders, but his men could not see where they were going. "We're ready," Logan announced. "Hold on." The transport pod shot out of the cargo bay and into space. Jack was pressed back into his seat by the sudden acceleration. Through the small window, he could see the UES horizon getting smaller behind them, but they were not alone. 3 Federation interceptor ships had been waiting outside the horizon. As soon as the transport pod appeared, they began chasing it. They were ready for us, Lisa said. Stevens is smarter than I thought, Logan replied. But this pod has some tricks he doesn't know about. Logan pressed several buttons on the control panel. The pod's communication system came alive with signals from the Federation ships. Jack could hear the interceptor pilots talking to each other as they tried to catch the transport pod. "This is Interceptor 1, a voice said. "We have the fugitive vessel in sight, moving to intercept," Logan smiled. "Watch this." He pressed another button, and suddenly the Federation ship's communications filled with static and interference. The interceptor pilots started complaining that they could not see their targets properly. "I've been working on Federation communication systems for 15 years, Logan explained. "I know how to jam their sensors." The transport pod flew through an asteroid field, using the large rocks as cover. The Federation ships had to slow down to avoid hitting the asteroids, which gave Logan time to increase their lead. For a while, it looked like they might escape, but then Jack saw something that made his heart sink. More Federation ships were coming toward them from the direction of Ceres Station. "They're trying to trap us," he said. Logan saw the ships too. "We have to try something else." He changed course and headed toward a different part of the asteroid field. This area had many small asteroids that were close together. It would be dangerous to fly through, but it might be their only chance. The interceptor ships followed them into the asteroid field. Jack could see the pilots were having trouble navigating around the floating rocks. One of the ships scraped against a large asteroid and had to fall back for repairs. "Two ships left," Logan said. They flew deeper into the asteroid field. The rocks were getting closer together, and Logan had to make sharp turns to avoid hitting them. Jack felt sick from all the spinning and turning. Suddenly there was a loud bang. The transport pod shook violently, and warning lights began flashing on the control panel. "They hit us," Logan said. "Our rear shield is damaged." Through the window, Jack could see one of the interceptor ships getting closer. The pilot was firing energy weapons at their pod. Another hit like that would destroy them completely. "There," Lisa pointed to a large asteroid with a deep crater. "Can we hide in there?" Logan turned the pod toward the asteroid. The Federation ship fired again, but the energy blast hit the asteroid instead of their pod. Logan flew into the crater and shut off the engines. "Will they find us?" Jack asked. "Maybe," Logan said, "but we don't have much choice. Our engines are damaged, and we can't outrun them anymore." They waited in the crater for 20 minutes. Jack could see the Federation ships searching the asteroid field, but they did not come close to their hiding place. Finally, the ships moved away toward another part of the field. "I think we lost them," Lisa said. Logan restarted the engines. "The damage isn't too bad. We can still make it to Ceres Station." They flew carefully out of the asteroid field. Jack kept watching for Federation ships, but he did not see any. After an hour, they could see Ceres Station in the distance. It was a small facility built into the side of a large asteroid. "Ceres Station, this is Transport Pod 7 from the UES Horizon," Logan said into the communication system. "We request permission to dock." "Transport Pod 7, came the reply. "This is Captain Ron Hayes. What's your business here?" Logan looked at Jack. "Tell him," he said. Jack took the communicator. "Captain Hayes, this is Communications Officer Jack Morrison. We have information about Federation crimes against human colonies. We need your help." There was a long pause. Finally, Captain Hayes spoke again. "Dock at Bay 3. Come alone, Morrison. If this is some kind of trick, you'll regret it." As their pod approached the docking bay, Jack wondered if he was making another mistake. He had trusted Commander Brooks, and she had tried to help them. But how many people could he trust before someone betrayed him to the Federation? The pod settled into the docking bay with a soft thud. Jack looked at Lisa and Logan, who had risked everything to help him. Now he had to decide whether to trust another person with the truth that could save humanity or destroy them all. "Whatever happens," Jack said. "Thank you for helping me." "People need to know what the Federation did to those colonies," Logan nodded. "My brother and his family deserve justice. Don't let their deaths be for nothing." Jack picked up the storage device. and walked toward the airlock. It was time to find out if Captain Hayes could be trusted with the most dangerous secret in the galaxy. Jack Morrison walked through the airlock into Ceres Station. The mining facility was smaller than he had expected. The corridors were narrow and the walls were made of rough metal. Everything smelled like machine oil and asteroid dust. Captain Ron Hayes was waiting for him in the docking bay. He was a big man with a gray beard and hard eyes. His uniform was old and had many patches on it. Jack could tell that Hayes did not trust easily. "You have 5 minutes to explain yourself," Hayes said. "Then you and your friends leave my station." Jack pulled out the storage device and handed it to Hayes. "Captain, the Federation made a deal with the Zaraki Empire to destroy 3 human colonies. 50,000 people died, and the Federation covered it up." Hayes looked at the storage device but did not take it. "That's a serious accusation, Morrison. Do you have proof?" "Everything is on that device," Jack said. "Messages between Federation Command and Earth's Colonial Administration, financial records showing payments for the colony locations, military orders telling human ships to stay away during the attacks." Hayes finally took the storage device and plugged it into a portable computer. Jack watched as the captain read through the encrypted messages. With each document, Hayes' face became more angry. "I knew the Federation was corrupt," Hayes said after reading for 10 minutes. "But I never thought they would do something like this." "There's more," Jack said. "The attacks were not random. The Federation chose those 3 colonies specifically because they were far from Earth and had small populations. They thought no one would ask too many questions." Hayes continued reading. When he reached the survivor testimonies, he slammed his fist on a nearby table. "These people saw Federation ships near the colonies before the attacks. Why didn't anyone listen to them?" "The testimonies were classified as secret," Jack explained. "The Federation made sure no one would hear what the survivors had to say." Hayes shut off the computer and looked at Jack with new respect. "This is the most important information I've ever seen. If this gets out, it will change everything." "That's why I need your help," Jack said. "I want to broadcast this information to every human settlement in the galaxy. But I need access to the Federation's communication network to bypass their censorship systems." Hayes was quiet for a long time. Jack could see he was thinking about the dangers of helping. If the Federation found out that Ceres Station was involved, they would destroy the mining facility and everyone on it. "There's someone you need to meet," Hayes finally said. "Follow me." Hayes led Jack through the station's corridors to a small laboratory. Inside, a woman in her 40s was working with scientific equipment. She had brown hair and intelligent eyes that reminded Jack of his sister back on Earth. "Dr. Karen White," Hayes said. "This is Jack Morrison. He's the man I told you about." Dr. White turned around and shook Jack's hand. "Captain Hayes said you have evidence about the Federation's crimes." "I'd like to see it." Jack was confused. "How did you know I was coming?" "Dr. White used to work for the Federation," Hayes explained. "She was a xenobiologist who studied alien cultures. When she started asking questions about Federation policies toward humans, they exiled her." Dr. White sat down at a computer terminal. "I've been collecting evidence of Federation corruption for 3 years. When Captain Hayes told me about your situation, I knew you might have information I could use." Jack showed Dr. White the documents on the storage device. She read through them quickly, making notes as she went. When she finished, she looked at Jack with excitement. "This proves everything I suspected," she said. "The Federation has been using humans as expendable pawns for years, but your evidence is the first proof of deliberate mass murder." "What other evidence do you have?" Jack asked. Dr. White opened a file on her computer. "The colony ship New Virginia disappeared 2 years ago with 20,000 people on board. The Federation said it was an accident, but I found communications showing that the ship was diverted to a restricted area where the Zaraki Empire was conducting military exercises." Jack felt sick. Another sacrifice? "I believe so," Dr. White said. "I also have evidence of Federation officials selling human mining rights to alien corporations for personal profit." And there are records of human prisoners being used as test subjects in alien medical experiments. Hayes leaned against the wall. The Federation has been treating humans like animals since we joined their organization. They smile and pretend to be our friends, but they think we're an inferior species. That's why we have to expose them, Jack said. People need to know what's really happening. Dr. White stood up and walked to another computer. I've been working on a plan to broadcast information throughout human space. But I need access to the Federation's main communication hub on Proxima Station. That's a heavily guarded facility, Hayes said. How could we possibly get inside? Dr. White smiled. I still have my Federation identification codes. They haven't been canceled because the Federation thinks I'm dead. Jack was surprised. Dead? I was supposed to die in a shuttle accident 6 months ago, Dr. White explained. But Captain Hayes rescued me before my shuttle exploded. The Federation thinks the accident killed me, Hayes nodded. We made it look like her shuttle was destroyed in an asteroid collision. As far as the Federation knows, Karen White no longer exists. That means you can get us into Proxima Station, Jack said. Not just get you in, Dr. White replied. I know the layout of the communication hub. I helped design part of it when I worked for the Federation. If we time it right, we can upload your evidence to every communication relay in human space. Jack felt hope for the first time since he had discovered the encrypted messages. How long would the broadcast take? About 10 minutes to upload everything, Dr. White said. But we need to be careful. Federation Security Chief Vas Calanthe runs Proxima Station. He's one of the most dangerous people in the galaxy. Hayes had heard of Calanthe. He's the alien who crushed the rebellion on Tau Ceti. They say he enjoys torturing prisoners. He also has sensors that can detect lies, Dr. White added. If he questions us, we'll have to be very careful about what we say, Jack thought about the risks. If they were caught, they would certainly be executed. But if they did nothing, the Federation would continue sacrificing human lives whenever it was convenient. When can we go? Jack asked. Dr. White checked her computer. There's a supply ship leaving for Proxima Station tomorrow morning. I can get us on board as maintenance workers. What about Lisa and Pete? Jack asked. They risked their lives to help me. I can't leave them behind. Hayes shook his head. 2. Many people will attract attention. 3 is the maximum for this mission. Jack did not like leaving his friends, but he understood. All right, what do we need to do? Dr. White pulled up a map of Proxima Station on her computer. The communication hub is on level 7. We'll enter through the maintenance section and work our way to the main control room. Once we're there, I'll need about 15 minutes to upload all the evidence. What if someone tries to stop us? Jack asked. That's where you come in, Dr. White said. Your job will be to distract anyone who gets suspicious. Captain Hayes will handle security if we run into trouble. Hayes checked his weapon. I've been waiting for a chance to hurt the Federation for a long time. This might be my only opportunity. They spent the next few hours planning their mission. Dr. White showed Jack how to use the Federation computer systems. Hayes taught him how to act like a maintenance worker. Jack practiced using fake identification cards and memorized the layout of Proxima Station. As they worked, Jack thought about all the people who had died because of the Federation's crimes. The colonists on Kepler Station, New Athens and Haven Ridge, the passengers on the New Virginia, his friend Tony Martinez, who had been killed helping them escape. All those deaths would mean nothing if this mission failed. Dr. White, Jack said, what do you think will happen when people learn the truth? She stopped working and looked at him seriously. There will be war, Jack. Humans all over the galaxy will demand justice. Some will want revenge. The Federation will try to destroy us rather than admit what they've done. Will we win? Dr. White smiled. Humans are stronger than the Federation thinks. When we're united and fighting for something we believe in, we're almost impossible to defeat. The Federation has been counting on us staying divided and ignorant. Once we know the truth, everything will change, Jack nodded. He was scared about the mission, but he was also excited. Tomorrow, they would either succeed in exposing the Federation's crimes or die trying. Either way, the truth would not stay hidden much longer. That night, Jack could not sleep. He kept thinking about the broadcast and what would happen afterward. In a few hours, every human in the galaxy would know that their own government had betrayed them. The galaxy would never be the same. He looked out the window at the stars and made a promise to all the people who had died. Their deaths would not be forgotten. Their sacrifice would not be meaningless. Tomorrow, the truth would set humanity free. Jack Morrison followed Dr. Karen White through the corridors of Proxima Station. They wore maintenance uniforms and carried tool bags to look like repair workers. Captain Ron Hayes walked behind them, pretending to be their supervisor. Jack's heart was beating fast, but he tried to look calm. The station was huge, with thousands of people working in different sections. Most of them were aliens from various Federation species. Jack had never seen so many different kinds of beings in one place. Some had blue skin, others had scales or fur. A few looked almost human but had strange eyes or extra arms. Stay close and don't talk unless someone asks you a direct question, Dr. White whispered as they walked toward the elevator. They reached level 7 without any problems. The communication hub was at the end of a long corridor lined with security cameras. Jack could see 2 guards standing near the entrance. They were tall aliens with gray skin and multiple eyes. "Those are Vorthan guards," Dr. White said quietly. "They can see movement better than humans, but they have trouble with hearing. If we're quiet, we can get past them." Hayes checked his weapon one more time. "If something goes wrong, I'll handle." "The guards, you two focus on getting to the computer system." They moved slowly down the corridor, staying close to the wall. The guards were talking to each other in their alien language and did not notice the 3 humans approaching. Dr. White used her identification card to open a maintenance door, just 20 feet from the main entrance. Inside the maintenance area, they found access panels that led to the communication hub's computer room. Dr. White opened one of the panels and climbed through. Jack followed her, with Hayes coming last. The computer room was dark and filled with humming machines. Lights blinked on and off as data flowed through the Federation's communication network. Dr. White found the main terminal and began typing commands. "This is it," she said. "I'm uploading Jack's evidence to every communication relay in human space. In about 10 minutes, every human colony, ship, and settlement will receive the truth about what the Federation did." Jack watched the upload progress on the screen. It was moving slowly, showing only 15% complete. He wondered how long they had before someone discovered what they were doing. His question was answered when alarms began ringing throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside, and they could hear running footsteps. "Someone found us," Hayes said, looking through the maintenance panel. "There are Federation security officers coming this way." Dr. White kept working at the computer. "I need 5 more minutes." "The upload is only at 30%. "We might not have 5 minutes," Jack said. The door to the computer room burst open, and Federation Security Chief Vos Calanthe entered with 6 armed officers. Calanthe was a tall alien with dark purple skin and 4 arms. His eyes glowed red in the dim light of the computer room. "Step away from the terminal," Calanthe ordered in a voice that sounded like grinding metal. Dr. White kept typing. 40% complete, she said without looking up. Calanthe raised one of his weapons. "I said step away or I will kill you. Where you stand." Hayes moved to stand between Calanthe and Dr. White. "You'll have to go through me first." "That can be arranged," Calanthe replied. He fired his weapon, and Hayes fell to the floor with a cry of pain. The captain was hurt, but still alive. Jack looked at the computer screen. 50% complete. He had to keep Calanthe distracted for a few more minutes. "You know what we're broadcasting, don't you?" Jack said to Calanthe. "You know about the colonies the Federation destroyed." Calanthe's red eyes focused on Jack. "The Federation makes difficult decisions to maintain peace in the galaxy. Sometimes sacrifices must be made." "Sacrifices?" Jack said angrily. "You murdered 50,000 innocent people. Men, women, and children who never hurt anyone." Humans are a young species, Calanthe replied. You do not understand the complexities of galactic politics. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Dr. White continued working, 60% complete. Calanthe noticed what she was doing and moved toward the computer terminal. Stop the upload immediately, or I will execute all of you. Jack stepped in front of Calanthe. Why are you so afraid of the truth? If the Federation's actions were justified, why do you need to hide them? Calanthe pushed Jack aside with one of his forearms. Jack hit the wall hard but got back up. He had to keep fighting to give Dr. White more time. 70% complete, Dr. White announced. Calanthe reached for the computer terminal, but Jack grabbed one of his arms. The alien was much stronger than Jack, but the human fought desperately to slow him down. Calanthe threw Jack across the room, but those few seconds had been precious. 80% complete? Calanthe raised his weapon to shoot Dr. White, but Hayes had crawled across the floor despite his injury. The captain grabbed Calanthe's leg and pulled him off balance. The security chief's shot missed its target. Jack got up and tackled Calanthe. Again, this time, 2 of the security officers joined the fight. Jack knew he could not win, but he only needed to delay them a little longer. 90% complete. One of the security officers hit Jack with the butt of his weapon. Jack fell to the floor, his vision blurry from the impact. He could see Dr. White still typing at the computer, even though 2 officers were moving toward her. 95% complete. Calanthe broke free from Hayes and aimed his weapon at Dr. White's head. Stop now, or die. Dr. White looked at Jack and smiled. It's been an honor serving with you. She pressed the final button just as Calanthe fired. Dr. White collapsed, but the upload was complete. 100%. Jack watched the computer screen as the message, "Transmission complete," appeared. In that moment, every human settlement in the galaxy was receiving the evidence of the Federation's crimes. The truth was finally free. Calanthe stared at the computer screen with rage in his glowing eyes. You have doomed your entire species, he said to Jack. The Federation will destroy every human world rather than allow this rebellion to succeed. Jack struggled to his feet. Then the galaxy will see what the Federation really is. You won't be able to hide behind lies anymore. Over the next few hours, as Jack and Hayes were taken to prison cells, the evidence began spreading throughout human space. On colony worlds and space stations, people gathered around communication screens to watch the horrifying truth unfold. Captain Steve Morgan of the battleship UES Defiance was the first military commander to act. After reading the evidence, he ordered his ship to attack the nearest Federation base. Other human captains quickly followed his example. The rebellion spread faster than the Federation could respond. On Earth, millions of people marched in the streets demanding that their government break all ties with the Federation. Colonial governors declared independence from Federation authority. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Jackson led the defense of the Luna base when Federation forces tried to recapture it. His small garrison held off a much larger enemy fleet for 3 weeks. Becoming a symbol of human resistance, the Federation tried to crush the rebellion with massive force, but they had underestimated human determination. United by shared anger over the murdered colonists, humans fought with a courage that surprised their alien enemies. Admiral Susan Clark gathered the largest human fleet in history and attacked the Federation's main base at Proxima Centauri. The battle lasted for 2 days and ended with complete human victory. The Federation's military power was broken. As the war raged across the galaxy, other alien species began questioning their own relationship with the Federation. Many had suffered similar injustices but had been too afraid to speak out. Jack's evidence gave them the courage to demand change. Within 6 months, the Galactic Federation collapsed. Some member species joined the new Human Republic, while others formed their own independent governments. The age of Federation tyranny was over. Jack Morrison was released from prison when human forces captured Proxima Station. He was offered leadership positions in the new government, but he refused them all. He wanted to return to his job as a communications officer. helping to build honest relationships between humans and the alien species that had also suffered under Federation rule. Dr. Karen White was remembered as a hero who died to free the galaxy from corruption. Captain Ron Hayes survived his injuries and became the first human ambassador to the Centauri Alliance, a group of species that had broken away from the Federation. Captain Steve Morgan became the first Admiral of the Human Republic Navy, Admiral. Susan Clark was elected as the first President of the Human Republic, leading humanity into a new age of independence and justice. The colonies that had been destroyed were rebuilt, and monuments were erected to honor the 50,000 people who had died. Their sacrifice had not been meaningless. Their deaths had awakened humanity to the truth and led to freedom for countless worlds. Jack often visited these monuments, especially the one for Tony Martinez, who had died helping him escape from the UES Horizon. He would stand quietly and remember all the people who had given their lives so the truth could be revealed. The galaxy was different now. Humans were no longer seen as weak or expendable. They had proven that courage and determination could overcome even the most powerful enemies. Other species respected them not for their military strength,